2020 is the anniversary of something that you absolutely didn't know about and probably don't care about, but I'm going to teach you about. It is the anniversary of my Y2K guitar rig. I found photographs. I've collected some things. I bought some things back. We're going to take a journey. It's a journey that's not all smiles. It's a little dark, a little creepy, but it is fun, and you're going to have to watch it. You can turn this off, but you don't ever do that. You watch it. So let's go. After 2 decades of being a guitar pedal nut, loving guitars, loving history, running a pedal company, designing circuits, and now even sitting in this room with thousands of guitar pedals, I come to realize that it's hard to remember what my first gear was like. What was it like to purchase it? Why did I buy it? All those different things. So we're gonna dive into my very first pedals, an amp that I had early on, and a guitar that I used early on, and we're gonna look at it. We're gonna listen to it. I'm gonna talk about those purchases, why I made them, and I'm gonna observe them from now, being much older, much more wise, I think, and try to decide what my opinions are now. Let's do it. Some reoccurring characters that you need to know in today's episode are my original guitar from the year 2000 and the amp I was playing. The guitar is a 1997 Mexican Telecaster Deluxe that's been heavily modified into Johnny Greenwood's guitar. There's a photo up there. It has all kinds of battle scars from playing clubs and frat parties and all that stuff. The original strap, as seen in the photo, this is my uncle's military badge from his jacket in Vietnam. It's an original strap. I mean, that's proof that I have a problem with collecting things. Yeah, so that's cool. I bought it off a guy in a bar for $300. Pretty good purchase. I think I bought it in '98. Then there's the amp that I used in 2000. A Fender FM100H. H stands for head because it's an obnoxiously big head. I bought it on a musician's friend credit card my mom gave me access to. Thank you, Mom. And showed up on the front porch with a 412 cab. It scared her, scared the dogs away, and I had to cram it into a small Ford Ranger to go around town gigging. But it is the amp I will play today. You'll hear more about it later. The very first pedals I ever owned as a guitar player were weird, strange. They were whatever I could find at the time. So this is going to be a time period between 95 and 97. This is me getting a guitar, learning how to tune the guitar, learning Nirvana riffs, Cake riffs, things like that, and finding pedals in pawn shops. One of the very first pedals I ever bought was off some guy in a local paper listing, like a, what's it called? Coffee Talk? Things like that, whatever they're called. It's a chorus pedal by Rocktek. It actually was good, but I didn't want chorus. I did play Come As You Are over and over through that. Somewhere I got a TS5. I think I got it at a pawn shop. Yeah, it's a tube screamer. There's a photo somewhere. I can't find that photo, but it's me sitting on a porch with a friend and that pedal's there. And then there's the 505. I think this was possibly the first of these pedals. I'm just not sure. I don't know what came first. It's confusing. This is a pedal that's important because it gave me access to tons of different sounds. I was able to flip through the presets and hear flangers and choruses and delays and compressors. And there was one guy that helped me. I was trying to learn some slide, and he said, you got to have a compressor. And I'm pretty sure that's why I got this, because I saw that it said compression. This is like the... I don't know, it's the mixed playlist of effects. It's the compilation album of pedal tones. And I think that's what's good about multi-effects. This was a big piece of my guitar pedal history, so let's demo it. I'm gonna go through every single patch and annoy you. Let's do it right now. Now that you've heard that, I've heard it, and the world has heard every single stock preset of the Zoom 505, I don't have anything to complain about. I could gig with this pedal if I sat down and moved through the tiny menus that hurt my fingers, but there's other choices and easier options. It's a really cool pedal. It's the seafood sampler of pedals, and I love seafood, and it really let me sample the tones that I would come to love. So I have nothing but love for that pedal. And I just remembered, I just remembered there was another pedal. It was a Rocktek delay. I think it was white, black foot switch, and I don't have it.
I don't have this pedal, am I gonna survive? I just have to have that pedal.
I'm gonna be okay, it's fine, we're gonna move on. My very first amps, it's a lot to talk about. I'm going to do my best. In 1995, I think, is when I got a guitar. I heard a Pearl Jam tape. I begged my mom to get me a guitar. She went to Costco. No, we didn't have Costco. We had Sam's Club because we're from the South. Costco's this weird northern Midwest thing. She came home, Sonic red Stratocaster guitar, which I have played on an episode. There's a song called Cheap Strat. It's that guitar. I found it, bought it again. I don't have the amp, but here's a picture of the amp. It's not a good amp. It's a GA150. Then, I think around 96, I talked a friend into trading me his Randall amp for some CDs. I think I traded him Filter, the Short Bus CD, and probably like Bush 16 Stone, and I got the RG15 by Randall. It's green, it's cute. It has that nice wheat front on it. Beautiful amp. Then in 97, I needed a real amp because I was in a band. We weren't really a band. We were a group of people that played music in a basement. It was really bad, but it was a band, and we played like Hotel California and then like a metal song after that. But the amp was a Dean Markley DMC-40, two 8-inch speakers, stereo chorus, and it broke constantly. I think it broke the day I got it, the second day I had it, and it was broken when I sold it. And then I needed another amp because then I was in a band, like an actual band happened, and that amp wasn't gonna cut it. And I got a custom tuck and roll tube amp from the 90s, which is confusing because custom was always solid state, but this was a tube amp. It was the TRT50, and it broke all the time as well. And that's how the Fender FM100 comes into play. These pictures of me playing at a New Year's Eve party, 1999, with a band. This is a Y2K party. Exciting stuff because you don't know if the world is going to end. You're playing music, there's songs, people are happy, but you're like, the world could possibly end. The picture shows the amp being the custom. So I know that I got the Fender amp that I've been playing here and that I'll continue to play. I got it in 2000. So now let's play just the Fender amp that I had in the year of Y2K. We're going to do clean, and then we're going to do we're going to just spice it up with that distortion channel, solid state distortion. It's going to be really good. Here we go. Buckle up. Okay, so that jam, Nick, what do you think?
I mean, I thought it sounded pretty good.
It's a sound. Here's where I'm at. Would I go gig with this amp right now, having all these other amps and stuff? I don't know. I mean, Johnny Greenwood, back to him, he plays as one of the Fender solid state twins, and it's one of the main sounds on the bins and a lot of his distortion. And then when you add in the lace sensors, those distortion sounds are kind of sick, to the point where I sit here right now kind of wanting to design a pedal that does that sound. Would you buy that? Let me know in the comments. I might have to do this. I have no complaints here. I felt like a kid again. I felt like Johnny Greenwood would have liked this, and that makes me feel like I'm somebody. I have problems. Let's move on. So the burning question is, we know what guitar I played in 2000. We know what amp I was playing. What were the pedals? So here's a photo of me playing a songwriter showcase in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. This would have been early 2000, right on the cusp of me ordering the Fender amp you just heard. But I'm still playing the custom, but I know it's 2000, and these are the pedals on the floor. This is it. This is a replication of the pedal board in the picture. The pedal board in the picture my dad helped me make. It was just some wood and it had carpet on it. And then this is the exact pedal order. So there's a lot to talk about here. First of all, I didn't have a real pedal board until probably 2002, maybe later. I just used a piece of wood. I used one spots, which I kind of now hate, but this was it. And I had no idea what proper pedal order was. And that's interesting because I was happy. I was happy as a spring lark in the summertime, and I had no idea where to put my pedals. I didn't care where I put them. I didn't care where you put your pedals. I didn't care if anyone had an opinion of where we should put our pedals. I just put pedals on a board and had fun, made music. That's a soapbox. Just pedal order is a thing, but it doesn't have to be a thing. You can quote me on that. So let's start off with the Overdrive, which was first. We're going to demo that, and we're going to continue through this pedal order, which is really wacky, and just talk about it later as we get through that. Overdrive. Let's talk about it. Being the professional gigging musician that I had become in 2000, just a huge career at hand. I was buying pedals, trying to achieve different sounds, obviously, and the Daddy O, I bought it, and I remember this specifically, great moment. There was a band that was playing at a Mexican restaurant. Now, it wasn't a normal Mexican restaurant. It was one that a lot of us played at. It had a nice venue. People came out. They drank a little, ate some tacos. It was a good time. He was playing Comfortably Numb, and he nailed the solo, and I looked down at his feet. This would have been early 2000. No, this was 99. He's playing the Daddy O. Now, here's the irony of this. I bought it, loved it, and used it along with the distortion channel of the FM amp. But I didn't know that it was a version of the Marshall Governor. And how did I ever know that I would later design a pedal of my own after the Governor called the Angry Charlie when it was kind of this? So maybe in an alternate weird universe where dreams come true, this is actually based on this. I don't know. Let's demo it. It's a hard thing being in 2020 trying to remember who I was in 2000. That's 20 years ago. I'm good at math. I'm sure of this. This is 2 decades of life, 2 decades of learning new guitar things, riffs, tones, techniques, having favorite players I'd never heard of, listening to music that didn't even exist. And so part of the problem here is I was trying to play something like I would have played on this, but I don't know what I actually played. That song was like a weird mix of Death Cab, John Mayer, Appleseed Cast, Pete Yorn, and just, I don't know what we were doing, but the jam sounded good, and that's all that matters. And this pedal's still a classic. I would put this on the board right now, and I just love these pedals. They're sentimental, and they can really do no wrong. This pedal could murder me, and I'd still put it on my board.
Dang.
The Dan Echo. So we went overdrive pedal, we went guitar, overdrive pedal, Dan Echo. Now, I got the Dan Echo because I walked into Counts Brothers Music and Muscle Shows. Just a big shout out there for all 6 of you watching from the Shoals area. They had a Line 6 DL4. That was out of reach. That was an expensive pedal. So I was in there, I was with my girlfriend at the time. A lot of you have heard this story, but I'm going to do it again. That's what old people do. They tell the same story over and over as if no one's heard it. So she surprises me and buys this pedal. We had a good relationship, you know. It was fine. Then I broke up with her. and I still had the pedal. So I got the pedal out of the relationship. But here's what I didn't get. She ripped up Pearl Jam tickets to the Pyramid in Memphis in front of me, and I never got to see Pearl Jam. And I still have not seen them to this day. And here's what's crazy. I've shared this story. Pearl Jam, a few members heard the story, and one of the managers came up at NAMM and they were like, come to the show, hang out, and all this stuff. Well, that was January. COVID happens and it got canceled. I still have not seen Pearl Jam. So I love this pedal. I'm gonna jam on it, but I'm gonna jam on it in sadness. Deep, longing, hideous, black sadness. Just darkness consuming me. That even though Pearl Jam heard this story, felt sympathy, I was gonna meet them and hang out. 2020 happened. Let's jam. So we jammed, and I think the song reflects where I'm at now. I picked up the guitar, I plugged this in, and I'm not looking back in anger. That's exactly probably the sound I was going for. I'd heard Red House, the tape delays, Don't Look Back in Anger, the solo. That's why I wanted this. That's why I have it. I haven't seen Pearl Jam, but I have Delay, and my heart is warm and thankful for the gift of life that has been given to me. Let's go on to the next pedal. All right, so we're on the third pedal. We've gone a guitar into Overdrive, into Echo. Very strange, because Delay should be last, but hey, that's not what I thought. And then we have the DOD Phasor, the 490 two-knob Phasor. I gotta be honest, I don't know where I bought it. I don't know why I bought it, but I can tell you this, I had no money. It probably cost $15, and I was in a band, and I thought, if I buy this pedal, it might inspire a riff that makes me famous. That was what was in my mind. So $15 in exchange for fame, and I ended up with a Phasor, and yeah, you know how that worked out. So we're gonna do a jam. I have no idea how I used a Phasor in the year 2000. I would have a hard time using a Phasor now. Maybe I was like super jazzed on Phasor at that time. I don't know. Let's try to jam and figure this out. What you just heard is, it's a little embarrassing because I'm not sure, I don't have vision. Without vision, bad songs happen. It's me just playing a not a surf chord progression, and Nick, I think, is playing Tame Impala. It's messy. It's not ugly. It could be beautiful, because beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and you're the beholder. So it's not up to me to criticize my own work. I'm just here to make it. Let's move on. The last effect pedal on the Y2K board is the DOD FX25B envelope filter. There is a story, but let's review again. Guitar into Overdrive, Overdrive into Delay, which is wacko, into Phasor, so phasing a delayed overdrive, and then an envelope filter, which is an auto wah effect. Last. Should be first by the book. The board makes no sense because I didn't make any sense. And you know what? That's how you should live your life. So I bought this absolutely because I'm obsessed with Johnny Greenwood. And I think what I'm realizing here, I bought the solid state amp that had that sound. I had modded the guitar to be his. I secretly want to be you. If you're watching, Johnny, if you're watching, I know other people from the band have probably seen the show. Ed has seen it. I just wanted to be you, and I'm guilty of that. But here's the problem. You actually played this one, so I was a failure from the get-go. Couldn't afford this too much later in life. So I used this weird example of a pedal, last in chain, I don't know. And my band, I don't want to be a downer, but Radiohead scared my entire band, so I never got to use it like you. I'm still talking to you, Johnny. We're just going to jam on this. I love the pedal, though. I can say that you haven't already thought. There's a lot of trouble getting this to trigger properly because it had so many pedals in front of it when it should have been next to the guitar. But we were able to play a little bit of a homage to Radiohead and immediately just jump into Hendrix, which made no sense. But I thought it made sense because it just makes sense. You know, sometimes things work, and that worked. I don't have much to say here. I'm trying to wrap this up here with a moral of the story, and I think it's this. I have no idea what was in my mind 20 years ago regarding how I use this gear. It was really fun to look back over, you know, how did I get that guitar? What was that like when I only had one guitar? I think I traded an Epiphone Les Paul after that for something else and then had cash to buy that guitar. It's like, that was interesting. How did I end up with the amp? One kept breaking. It wasn't about someone on YouTube influencing me. It wasn't about Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. I wasn't even on a forum. Harmony Central existed, but I didn't know anything about it. I was just downloading tabs on the internet and playing guitar with my friends and a band. So that's the moral, is I was having a lot of fun. I didn't buy stuff the right way. I didn't put my stuff in the right order. My gear is weird and strange, but it was like one of the best times of my life. So, all that said, I have no idea how I used it, but I know I loved it. So, that's the moral. I feel warm. My heart is happy. I need to relive this a little bit, you know? It's a big deal. So, let's go to record time. One of the processes of me figuring out what my gear was and how I used it was that I went back and listened to records that I absolutely loved at the time, and this is one of them. It came out on October 26th of 1999, so I know I was rocking it in my Ford Ranger. I saw them live, and MapQuest gave me the wrong directions when I printed them off because I didn't have a smartphone. I got lost in Birmingham. Long story you don't need to hear about, but I'm positive this was something I was into. I'd been a fan since Purple, and Tiny Music was a huge record for me as a player. And when this came out, I remember we covered Down, If the Crowd Was Right. You know, it's a little risky. And Sour Girl's amazing. MC5, Glide is so cool. Brendan O'Brien produced it. This is a record and a band that gets crowded into other music that is not good. They are brilliant. The musicianship is incredible. Scott Weiland was an amazing vocalist and writer. The vocal melodies, the guitar lines, it's so good. So check this out. Let me know what you think. It's called 4, by the way. It's their 4th album. So, number 4. Thanks for watching this so much. I hope you've enjoyed this exploration of embarrassment for me of the year 2000. It's been really fun. I actually learned a little bit of things that I forgot. You know, sometimes you gotta get back to your roots. And I'm there. So in the comments, let's talk about your Y2K guitar rig. In the photos, you noticed another guitar player. I won't name him, but he used this, a Metal Zone, and the CF7. I texted him and confirmed. He said, absolutely, that's what I used. We're not ashamed, and you shouldn't be either. So in the comments, just type out all the gear you use. Let's talk about it. Let's share each other's pain, feelings, emotions, whatever. Hit like if you like this, subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon to get notifications of future episodes. Also, there's the jhsshow.com. There's shirts and stuff like Complex Harmonics. I definitely had those in 2000. You can go buy this shirt. You probably don't want it, it's fine. And then there's the Patreon. There's a link. You can go support that, become a part of the show. That's it. I have to leave now, but 2020 has been a good year. It's an anniversary of something we will now forget.